the actual setup process sounds quite simple. You've got two application forms, one for the SMSF and one for the Bear Trust.
Yep.
So that sounds pretty straightforward. So that's pretty much all you need, apart from those two documents, which are, you said they were identical. So two one-page documents, one for the Bear Trust, one for the SMSF. You just need a super statement and some ID. Is that pretty much all you need?
Spot on. Yeah, so I usually explain to the clients that, it sounds pretty simple from their point of view, because it is. All we need them to do is provide those documents, which takes about 15, 20 minutes if they really want to get the process moving. And then we do the heavy lifting in the background, which is some fairly technical stuff that we need to do in the background, setting up the entities in the right way, generating those trust documents, which are pretty lengthy. But that's what Blue Chip SMSF does, obviously.
So if the client is, let's say they've got some questions, do you give them a call, or how do you sort of hold their hand through that process if they're sort of not sure what they're signing, or they want a bit more information, or they're not sure of something? What happens there?
Yeah, so on my Zoom call, I'll always make sure that the clients program my name and number into their phone whilst I'm on the call.
Yeah.
And they know that I'll be their personal contact through the setup process and beyond. So if they've got questions about anything at all, they come straight through to me. I let them know that we've got a pretty big support team, a pretty big admin team that work behind the scenes. But I'm the only person that they need to speak to. They'll have my personal contact details. We do have a dedicated office line, but they don't even need to call that. They can just come through to me personally. They'll also have my email address, but most of them will text me or call me. And I'll usually hold their hand through the signing of the trust documents. Some clients just sign them straight away and just get them back, and some clients want to go through them in a lot of detail. Every now and then, if a client really wants to go through the trust documents in detail, which is fine, I'd actually rather them do that, then I'll do a Zoom meeting for the trust documents as well. Because the trust documents can look a little bit confronting when the clients first do get them. They're quite thick, and there's a lot of terminology which most clients won't really understand. So I'm more than happy to hold their hand through that part of the process as well.
Yep. And so also I noticed part of that process there's no advice that's given through this process. So it's essentially what you're saying is essentially clients may already know what they want to do. They might already know what they want to invest in. They're simply using this service to establish the fund in an efficient way without any advice. Is that right?
Spot on. The majority of clients, 99 clients out of 100 that I speak to, they've already decided what they want to do. They don't need advice for that. They've already decided that most of my clients want to invest in property. That's what they want to do. So it's probably more important in a sense that they get an understanding before they come to us. They get an understanding if their fund can borrow money, that part of it is they get the green light and that's all being ticked off. So if the client hasn't engaged a broker, I might refer them on to a broker or tell them to find their own broker. Obviously, they need to make sure that if they are doing that the broker understands SMSF lending. There is some nuance. There's some difference with SMSF lending as to, in comparison to lending in your personal name. So that's pretty important. There's no point setting up an SMSF to purchase property if the SMSF can't borrow money. So I always make sure that box has been ticked before the client sets up an SMSF. But again, most of the clients that I speak to, they may have been referred by a broker or referred by a property group or a buyer's agent, and those guys have already sort of tick that box, and by the time they get to me, they know that their fund can borrow money because that's already been assessed. They obviously know that they want to buy property. Sometimes they may have even sort of got a bit of an idea of what type of property, or in some cases, the property has already been selected or earmarked at least. And it's just a matter of talking them through the setup process and getting the fund set up.
Yep. And with the property, so drilling down a little bit on the types of properties that most of your clients are purchasing, are they residential, industrial, commercial? And can you tell me a little bit about that? And if it is a sort of a residential, for example, is it a one-part contract or a two-part contract? I know when you're purchasing something in your own name, you can, or a different entity that's other than a self-managed super fund, you can have what's called a two-part contract where you're purchasing the land and you're paying the stamp duty on the land, and then you go through the build process. Can you do that with an SMSF, or does it need to be a one-part contract? And can you tell me a little bit about that, just a bit about what your clients are purchasing, and a little bit drilling down a little bit regarding the contracts and whether they are a one-part or a two-part?
Yeah, it's so you can buy any type of property inside an SMSF. We do commercial, SMSF setups for commercial properties, also industrial, but the vast majority is residential. The vast majority, the industrial and commercial properties, sort of 1 in 100. By far the most popular is residential, and there are differences. If you're investing in property inside super, it has to be a one-part contract. And that's partly to do with the bear trust, with the bear trust structure. So it has to be a one-part contract. You can't buy a piece of land and then build on it. It has to be either a completed house, completed townhouse, or a completed unit. Doesn't have to be completed in the sense that the actual development is completed and handed over, but it does have to be a one-part contract.
Does that come down to, I guess that probably comes down to the single asset rule, which is part of the Superannuation Act. I'm assuming it would be coming down to that, and that's probably the reason you can't have those two-part contracts.
That's right, yeah.
Hey guys, just a quick disclaimer and just a reminder that this is not personal advice, so make sure you speak with a licensed advisor before making any investment decision. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of SMSF Insider. If you got value from this, make sure you subscribe so you never miss the strategies we share to help you take control of your financial future. Find us on socials at Blue Chip SMSF or book a call with our team to see if we can help you.